I am aware of the irony of me saying this where I'm saying it, but Google is a horrifying company. The sheer amount of power they have, thanks to people's reliance on services that they own and control, is scary. There's more to it than that, but that alone is enough to give me the willies. However, Google has shown what may be seen as some kind of self-awareness when it comes to these issues, and they go out of their way to show people that, yeah, they are using this technology to make sure people don't get shut down, which is probably one of the main fears about Google, that they will censor stuff. If you visit google.com/ideas, you can see some of the stuff they're working on. Project Shield, protecting websites from digital attacks. Every day, independent news, human rights, and election monitoring sites around the world are taken offline and silenced by attacks on their servers. Project Shield uses Google's technology to protect websites at risk and keep them online. Absolutely fantastic. Google using their resources to prevent censorship by means of denial of service attacks. This is reassuring. A lollipop in exchange for letting them dig their claws into you. Here's another thing they've worked on. Investigative dashboard, giving journalists powerful tools to research data across borders. Criminals and corrupt officials use shell companies to hide their activity. Investigative Dashboard gives journalists the tools to follow the money and uncover international money laundering. It was developed in collaboration with Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project. Again, absolutely fantastic, encouraging investigative journalism. They're supporting something that could well come back on them. And if you look at the Google Ideas Twitter account from around the time they must have been promoting this, it does seem like they really are encouraging the kind of people who would slap them if they started doing something really evil. This is the Google Ideas Twitter account almost a year ago. The description of the account is, Google Ideas explores how technology can enable people to confront threats in the face of conflict, instability, and repression. And if you go check the archive link, the kind of thing they were retweeting was stuff about journalists being shut down. They were tweeting things like, only 14% of the world population lives in countries with free media. They were very much going out of their way to present themselves as defenders of freedom. Yes, they've got the power to clamp people down, but look, they are using it to make sure people do not get shut down. Google Ideas is obviously about PR. Yeah, that's kinda cold and creepy in its own way, but it does mean to some degree, if Google wants the public to like them, they are going to have to do a little bit of what it takes for the public to like them. Even though they could afford to just not give a shit whatsoever, they clearly do, at least a tiny bit. And I think that's why they've suddenly focused on this message. One that gets them thousands of retweets. One that really reflects what the press has been pushing as what people want online. In terms of their social media presence, that description I read to you has changed. Now, it is just, we build tools against oppression. Retweets are not endorsement. Oh dear. Now, tools against oppression, that sounds good, but I think we all know that oppression doesn't mean oppression anymore. And it certainly doesn't sound as legitimate as enabling people to confront threats in the face of conflict, instability, and repression. Let's be fair though, let's give them a chance. Maybe they just changed the description to make it more snappy. I don't think they switched the description yesterday, and if you search for them, they have talked about oppression in legitimate circumstances before. Let's look at the oppression they're fighting at the moment. Shit. From supporting investigative journalism and sharing information about the actual physical danger journalists may face, really trying to appear as supporters of the free flow of information. You know, essentially Google supporting what would be needed to fight them, to enlisting the help of Hobbit frequency, getting advice on the best way to slice out inappropriate communication. This is my nightmare fuel. This is what I think happens when you have people fearing for their safety over their freedom. Powerful companies are going to pick up on that. And instead of worrying about convincing you that no, we are for freedom, we are actually going to make sure you are free, they now see that people want safety, and they will be ecstatic to give you more safety than you could ever possibly want. So they are going to use all of Google's technology to fight online abuse. What exactly constitutes online abuse? If we look at their Twitter account, they've given us a big clue. The replies to our last tweet are precisely why we are exploring ways to combat online harassment. Okay, the responses to that tweet I showed you earlier are what they want to erase, is what they want to get rid of and eliminate using Google's technology. Let's have a little scroll through. I am sure this is going to be absolutely sickening. You know, a lot of this kinda looks to me like people trying to share information about companies making bad choices that will affect the public. Isn't this exactly what I thought Google Ideas was meant to make sure people could do? There's some harsh wording, there's some mockery, but nothing that I would consider harassment whatsoever. especially considering this is on a public platform. And so, in my eyes, these replies are solicited. It looks like we might end up getting the true Google Plus, you know, in the atheism plus sense. If this isn't just some rogue idiot on the Google Ideas account, and Google really is dedicated to removing any negative commentary from the internet regarding public figures they endorse, my little daily YouTube video hobby is boned. And how else are they going to combat that? You can already block stuff. You can already be private. What would they be doing that requires Google's technology? And if those kind of comments are what they consider harassment, why would they let people who talk like me, and a lot of you guys too, use their services like YouTube? I realize that realistically, this is just a bit more hot air, more PR bullshit, and that Google will just do what they want anyway because they can. I just want, at the very least, for people to not let them pretend they're our friend, because I think that's just going to make it that little bit easier for them to screw us without anyone getting angry. If this pisses you off, whether for a reason like mine, or due to something like the unsuitability of the chosen representatives for this initiative, you should make it known. It won't turn Google into any less of a scary beast, but you might get this little PR idea put on the rejected pile. But, as usual, that's just another one of my harmful opinions. Yes, I am shilling this again, but with an added update. Just this morning, Teespring started offering EU campaigns. So I've started one for this shirt, which means if you live in Europe, you're not going to have to pay half of the damn shirt in shipping. Links are in the description if you're interested.